Jorge's the host, Hall of Fame in his veins. The People's Podcast, where legacy reigns. Madden and MC Dolay, the talk of the town. Franchise and dynasty, we never back down. Legacy lives on every single day. Welcome to the People's Podcast, where legends play. The legacy of Madden and MC Dolay here to stay. Troy leading the way in this game we trust. Franchise and dynasty, the People's Podcast. The passion and the drive, the spirit of the game. Champion mindset will never be the same. Hot topics and debates, we bring the heat. The legacy of greatness, can you feel the beat? The legacy lives on, strong and true. Welcome to the People's Podcast, where legends play.
All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, he's your host, Mr. Jorge Martinez of the People's Podcast. Today I'm joined by the man, the myth, the recently married legend, and also the expert of this whole NCAA recruiting. The man wanted his own podcast, so we gave it to him. Mr. Randy, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, Jorge. It's not that I wanted my own podcast. It's just it was necessary, you know.
The people needed
The people
the
needed.
podcast.
Yes. And I'll never forget when you sent me a wedding gift, and my mom walked up and was like, "Randy, who is this George Martinez fella?" and it took it was like the little light bulb just ting. Mom, I don't think that's how you say that.
That's not how you say it, Mom.
Poor.
What's up, dude?
Just living it up. Just got back from Gulf Shores, Alabama, where we celebrated our ancestors deep throating the British.
There you go.
Or giving deep throating. We didn't deep throat. We did the deep. They did.
Yeah. Be careful. Be careful. Bourbon already a little too heavy there.
We're drinking some weird Japanese stuff tonight. This is Ichiko Saitan. It's a barley alcohol from Japan. It tastes like shit, so I put lemonade Mio in it.
There you go. Spice it up a little bit. All you need is the alcohol, really.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's a goal.
Just the lubrication.
There you go. That's what she said. All right, Rainey. So we're going to dive into the recruiting. Now, we have an action pack week.
Dude.
Right. So remind the users who's listening to the pod and who's tuning in, what's the week going to look like?
Yeah.
For NCAA EA Sports.
Someone decided to just fucking whip out the little goldfish flakes for us this morning and gave us what the week is going to look like. So tomorrow we have the gameplay deep dive where I think is it Donovan Edwards playing one of the EA representatives, and they're going to show us off actual gameplay. And from if you go on YouTube right now, they have it kind of posted already where it's gonna open up and be able to play at I think 9:55 tomorrow morning. But it's supposed to be 21 minutes of gameplay, so we'll get a pretty good version of what we're gonna see come Monday. And then Tuesday we have the bye day, also known as College Ultimate Team. No one cares about that, I'm sure. we don't like to spend money.
Yeah.
But that's going to be interesting to see. We're going back to a time where abilities, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but abilities aren't abilities anymore.
Right.
It's more like attribute enhancers.
Boosters. Right.
Yeah, boosters. Yep. Yes. So I'm going to be curious to see, they're not going to be able to sell, get the same player for the 33rd time so you can get a new ability on them. That's going to be a new. I'm curious to see what they use to entice the small children to use mom's credit card.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I think everyone's most curious day is team ratings.
So that's Wednesday, right? 7:10. That's Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's when rosters come out.
Yeah, and that's gonna be interesting because they showed a sneak peek of the Tennessee roster on Twitter, and I forget the name of the edge rusher, but he
the defensive lineman guy's like a 93 or something.
He's a 93, and he's considered the number one pick next year. There's 3 or 4 guys, but he's kind of leading the pack right now. And if the best player, supposedly the best player in college football is a 93, then I think they did pretty good. That means, you could probably expect one player to be better, and that will probably be, Travis Hunter, just because he plays both sides of the ball, so he'll have
Right.
some like agility and stuff will be kind of out of the off the charts, out of this
Well,
world.
he'll just be probably the most balanced
Yeah.
attribute guy between receiving,
Yep.
route running, catching, and zone and man and press.
Yeah.
That all that other fun stuff.
Yep. And then the other guy I'd be interested to see is a little biased, but LSU's left tackle, Will Campbell. You've you have the
Oh
Florida
yeah.
Gators shirt on. You know about the nightmare.
Oh yeah.
Dude's been playing. He's been starting left tackle since he walked onto LSU's
He did.
campus.
Yep.
I mean, and the first year as a freshman, he wasn't like a bad left tackle. He
He was
was
a day one coming
he was
full.
yeah,
The
he
dude
was all American already.
ends as a freshman already. So no, that dude's probably going to be you probably say it's top 5, top 6 pick
Oh yeah. There
up there. He's
he's
probably going to be the first left tackle taken for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. And he whenever I said like there's 3 or 4 battling it, they've rumored him going to first overall. If he just if he doesn't change, then y- the problem is that left tackle is not a shiny toy,
Of course not. Yeah, it's not an athlete.
Yeah, yeah. But I'll be curious to see what they give him, because he should be the best offensive lineman in the game.
Yeah.
So that'll be curious. Then finally, Road to the Glory Thursday. That's where we get to see. That's where all of our childhood imaginations of
That's
us
it.
starting quarterback.
That's it.
That's where it all starts, right there. Road to Glory. I am a little nervous about that, because you do a. Why would they put that one last if not that they don't want to show it off too much?
Yeah.
Like I'm afraid that's the one something.
They
If
can't do everything.
yeah,
Right.
right,
They
and
can't do everything. Something's going to have to be shit.
yeah,
And it's not
hopefully,
going to be the Tuesday one because that's the one that makes the money.
yeah, the
Right.
Ultimate Team. We all want it
So
to be Ultimate Team,
of
but
course, yeah. Yeah, we do. But it is a valid point though. They're releasing the most exciting thing, which is rosters.
yeah,
And then someone's like, oh, and by the way, Roll of Glory the next day if you want to tune in. If you don't, it's okay because you got rosters to still debate about.
yeah,
Right? It's because people are still going to be talking about rosters
yeah.
well into the weekend.
So here's I have a question for you. Do you think Colorado maintains their overall on Wednesday, or will they be like, oh, we actually those were
Yeah, I think people are going to be surprised with what the actual ratings are. Because I do think, what was released is not what's going to be published,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. So, yeah, I do think Colorado comes down a bit because I do think there was a decent amount of uproar about like, what? Colorado's defense is really this good? They gave up like 45 points a game last year. What are you talking about?
That was
But-
like it was similar with like USC and LSU, right? Where it was like-
Yeah.
but they have the argument where it's like they had 4 and 5 stars. It was more on the coaching side that was
Right.
bad.
Right. Not exactly.
with-
Not exactly player ability and skill.
Yeah, but Colorado, they had some player ability issues.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Some of that Louis that showed up wasn't necessarily Louis. It was a little,
No.
little fake Louis. that
Yeah.
showed up. But Gordo, you asked a question about what am I drinking? I got a little Reef Donkey, man. A little craft beer action today, keeping it light, nothing crazy. And my good old glass of water, my little lightning cup I like to have. All right, Randy. So let's dive into it. I wanna. This is going to be an hour and a half podcast. It's going to be 30 to 45 minutes. It is going to be interactive. So as you're watching the show and you got some questions, feel free to post them in there. I'll get them on the screen and Randy will get them answered for you. Randy, where do we start?
So I think the best place to start is this whole like staged recruiting thing. So most of our knowledge comes from NCAA 13 and 14, and that was pretty simple. It was pretty basic. You had like 1 week of scouting. That was that's all you did, and then it just kind of rolled into the. If those of you that don't remember, it was just like put in X amount of time to your players, and that's it. and it was very dull, but it was very easy. Like it kept the game moving. But now they go into they're calling a stage recruiting process where there's 3 stages: discovery, pitch, and close. And it
All right,
kind
so let's
of
start with the first one.
yeah,
What does that discover? So you said discovery, pitch, and
yep,
close. The
yep,
last one seems somewhat self-explanatory,
yep,
right? Second one, a little bit, but that
yep.
discovery one is that very initial on the onset. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so we'll start with discovery, right? And discovery, that's kind of where you're trying to find the players that you're going to use that you want to use for your team. So if you're a man coverage defense, you need to find those cornerbacks that can run man. That's where you're finding them. That's where you're actually finding that you're recruiting them, you're scouting them, and that's where you're kind of trying to find what they like. And what they brought up several times in the video and in the deep dive was that you have to find their ideal pitch. So these players will have 14 things that they could potentially like. Of the 14, 3 of them will be like their top 3 that you have to be able to pitch them for them to come to your school. And what I thought was interesting was it kind of comes back to the more modern day of the sport where you have 5 actions. You could offer a scholarship. You can search social media to see what they like. You can DM the players to actually talk to them and kind of like get their interest into your school. You can contact their friends and family, right? Like Coach Ogeron, when he was at LSU, he always talked about the best thing you could do for a recruit is find the head of the house. That could be the mom, the dad, the brother, the coach, whoever that person looked up to the most. You would contact them and you would kind of beat on them. So while the coordinators talk to the kid, Coach O would go talk to this household figure. So
That's
you'll
a
have
person
the
that carry the influence,
yes, exactly.
right?
It's the person that it's the person's it's who they look up to, right?
So in this discovery phase, would you kind of equate it to creating your big board, right? Where you're saying, so let's go back to your
Yeah.
original comment around, okay, I need a man corner. All right, I
Hmm.
got these 15 available
Yep.
man corners that fit my style of defense. Of the 15, right from I don't know what they like yet though, because you got to discover what
Yep.
they like to see if it's a potential match. Are you giving
Yep.
any type of sneak peeks into what they potentially may like? To see if it's
Yep.
it's almost like Tinder. You want to swipe left or are you going to swipe right on them?
Yeah. And that's like I think that's gonna be a big part of it is that you're gonna have to like dip your toe. Like, okay, we have this. Oh, this person doesn't like that, or this is the only thing that person likes. And what that will also come to is you'll be able to infer a little bit with like their top teams. You know, they always have like a top 3 or whatever, top
Right,
5.
right.
If the kid from New Orleans, if his top 3 is Tulane, LSU, UL, you might know, okay, this kid wants to stay in
Stay
Louisiana.
home.
So
Right. Wants to
yeah,
stay
that might
home.
yep,
Proximity to home is important to him. So
yep.
okay, boom, that's something you can try to pitch on.
Yep.
And
Or
you
if,
pitch
but if
them.
it's a kid from freaking Lincoln, Nebraska, and his top 3's Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, now you know that he just wants to probably get in the league. Yeah.
Program is important to him.
Yep.
He's
So
not
that's
going
gonna
he's not
be
going to look at a small school like Army, for example.
yes,
Nothing against Beast,
exactly.
but
Yep. And that's like his that's all kind of what you're gonna have to infer as the coach. And
we do have a question that
yep.
did pop in here. So we had a question: is the first stage still going to be like 14 where you can find some of those hidden gems? Because you got to think, right? The biggest things about college football, I think what the recruiting aspect, yeah, 5 stars and 4 stars isn't necessarily guarantee you a stud player. Sometimes those 1 and 2 stars could be a diamond in the rough per se. Have you seen anything? Maybe that's jumping a little bit ahead, but have you seen anything that could lead to some hidden talent?
Yep. So for the first stage, Declan is right. There is going to be like a scouting thing where you will find your busts and you will find your gems. But this will kind of go with something else we'll talk about a little bit later. So there is 4 stages of scouted. There's unscouted, partially scouted, mostly scouted, and fully scouted. Obviously, as you go up, you can determine if this person's going to be a gem, a bust, or whatever his expectation was to start. But the thing that will coincide with that will be, do you want to allocate that much time a week to finding
The
those players?
hours, because you only have so many
Yep.
hours a week. And again,
And
and it's program specific.
Yeah, and something else that I don't think many people have realized yet is that the amount of time you have is is synchronized with how prestigious. So like LSU in Florida is going to have 1,000 hours, say for a week, while Colorado State and Hawaii will only have 350 hours, right? And
Wow.
and in real life it makes sense, right? Because those big schools they have 72 associate coaches that they can say, hey, I need you to go look at
They
little
got more
Timmy
staff.
from East Texas.
Yeah, makes
So
sense. They
that's
got
going
more
to be
staff
something,
available.
right? And that's gonna be where you'll see like your smaller schools were gonna have to take big chances. And this kid, he's a 60 overall. I scouted him for 1 week. Now he's a 70 overall. I don't know if that's done or not, but I'll take
I
it
gotta
where it
offer
is.
them. I gotta make.
Yep,
I gotta make an offer.
yep. So that's gonna be something we'll see a lot of. Is that I'm curious how many more big swings will the smaller schools have to take to try to compete with those big schools who have the extra hours.
Yeah, it's almost double. Oh shit, almost
Yep.
triple the
Yeah.
hours. That's
Yep.
insane.
Yep. And then that's kind of the gist of discovery is just figuring out who you want, offering them, and seeing if they're a good fit for you as well.
Yeah, you're not offering a scholarship. You're having. You're. What you mean offering is you're getting that initial conversation with them.
No, you can offer scholarships in discovery now, so that's kind of the biggest switch.
Wow.
And I think that's kind of more coincides with how it is now. Is that
Right.
you kind
You
of
can get.
see
You can get
those?
verbals. You can give a bunch of
Yeah,
verbal offers
yeah,
out there.
yep. And there is a split between verbal commits and hard commits now. That is something that they brought up. So you will have to kind of juggle. You know, you tell the verbal guy, hey, you can come, and then you get a little too many recruits. Might
You
have to.
drop them, or
Yeah,
vice versa, right? You get a
yeah,
verbal commit, but doesn't
yeah,
mean he's going to actually sign. Another
yep,
school starts showing a little more love, and a little more attention. He could drop that
yep.
commit on signing day.
Yep, and that all kind of leads to the next thing, which is like I consider it's called the pitch, and I consider this like in this is typically kind of what you're going to be seeing in the middle of the season. This is when you're selling your brand to the recruit. Oh, wide receiver from you're a wide receiver from East Texas. How about you come to LSU where we have Jamar Chase, we have Justin Jefferson, we have the athletes, and you're trying to sell them on that. You're trying to sell them on proximity to
On the
home,
prestige of
and
the position development.
yep, yep. And you just whatever, and it's whatever you have that best suits what they want, right? Like you can kind of like pick out which three you want to talk to them about.
You're playing
And
matchmaker at that point, right? You're trying to match
exactly.
up with interest and align your strength with
Yep.
their desires in the school and their top priorities to try to increase that love for one another.
Yep. And they even said that it's the most streamlined. So like you can just put it to whatever you want and leave it like that for a couple of weeks, right? Because that's where you're just trying to kind of butter them up to get them to come for a visit and then to inevitably commit. And they also said that in that pitch there's a hard sell and a soft sell. So
Ooh,
if you know the three things the person wants and you have those three things, hard sell, commit hard, get them in, right? If the fucking if the 5-star defensive end from New Orleans wants to come to LSU and he cares about the home being at home, the coach prestige and the school prestige, then yeah, you could hard sell. But if it's the 4-star from Florida, from South Florida, that's thinking about coming to LSU that you didn't get the full discovery time on, maybe you want to be a little cautious and soft sell,
right.
right? Because you don't want to fuck it up.
Well, and waste the hours because I'm sure
Yeah,
the hard
exactly.
sell is gonna absorb a heck of a lot more hours of that
Yep.
available week
eh,
than a soft sell. So now you've made that commitment
Yep.
to that young man, and he's like, yeah, I'm still thinking about it,
Yep.
and you're like, fuck, right? Because now you're almost guaranteed to be outside the top five
Yeah.
once you get to that next stage of when they start to make that decision. You're probably likely to be outside the top five. So
Yep.
then you're like, all right, do I continue to sweet talk my way in and hopefully get to the top three because that top three is where you want to be, from what I read.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong there,
Yes.
Randy.
Yes. Once you get to that top three, that's where you see. That's when even in real life, that's when your hat's on the table. That means you have a probably greater than 80% chance that dude might come to your school, or I
Right.
guess technically it'd be 33% chance, right? Because it's three hats.
Right. But it depends on, but you can also feel a little more comfortable depending on how some of those other things align to your school versus your opponent's school.
Yep. And something else that they kind of like made. I always care about what they decide to bring up. Like they mention it verbally. That means that they're proud of it. And one thing that they brought up was that it now recruiting stages are asynchronous. So you might
Mm.
be in discovery in the summer for one kid, but the other kid that is, the defensive end from New Orleans that wants to come to LSU all his life, he might already be like, okay, close on me, I'm ready.
I'm
Like
ready to
so,
go. That's
yeah.
it.
So like you'll be juggling like, okay, I want to do all of my. You can't just do all of your discovery on week 0. You
Right.
can't just do that. Now you have to kind of juggle it all, and that kind of brings up the chaos that is, head
Oh,
coaching
college
and
recruiting. And
coach. Yeah,
listen, as a high school coach
yeah,
who's on the other side of it, talking to coaches, right? Getting kids in front of coaches, sending film, this, that, and the other. As I read about it, it's exactly how it lines up to real life, which is exciting, right? Because it's exactly the way it is. So it'll be interesting. So real quick, we're up to about 15 people on the podcast. So definitely appreciate, use the comment section to ask any questions. We're going over recruiting in NCAA. The game drops on the 16th for the early birds. Is that the date for the early birds? Or,
March. Not March, my bad. Fucking
like what? It dropped
Monday,
already?
Monday. I
Monday the
March 5th,
14th?
the 15th, I think, right?
The 15th, yeah.
Yeah, so it drops Monday the 15th at 4 Eastern Standard. So like if you work Monday, just pop a little late laxative at 10 a.m., have that stomach bubbling at 2, good to go.
That's it. Gotta go home. Gotta go
Oh
home.
yeah, I've already started making up my excuses. It's like, and I feel like a piece of shit sometimes because it's like, oh Randy, they know that your family has heart problems. Say you're going to the heart doctor.
That's fucked up. That's
That's
fucked up.
so
Yeah,
fucked up,
don't do
right?
that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
And like,
Don't put that shit out there in the universe.
yeah, but
That
then
don't
but
do.
then but then I start thinking it's like, fuck, I really need to go to the heart doctor. I might not be able to use that again for a little while though.
Yeah, no. Definitely don't do that. Don't put that out in the universe. But again, we're talking about recruiting in the game that's coming out next week. We're doing a little deep dive. So we just went through the Discover, which
Yep.
again, it's basically big board building. You're identifying the guys that
Yep.
fit your scheme, offense, defense, special teams.
Yep.
You're finding out what's important to them. See how you align with that. You're making some soft discovery, getting to learn about them, and if you're able to, if you have enough matches, maybe throw out a couple hard offers to see if you get some early commits. What's his next stage about?
So the final stage, that's your closing stage, right? That's when you've buttered them up. You kind of got them. You've got them in a position where you think you can close on them and get them to commit. And that's
And
where
you
you're
know
going
enough
to
about him
see.
too, though, right? Is
Yes,
this where
yes, right.
so of the attributes, how much would you think is available to a user to say, okay, I see 60%, 80%. What do I see?
I think for the top tier schools, if it's if for instance, if it's me, in my league, I'm playing as LSU. All of my top 10 to 20 Louisiana kids, they're gonna be 100%.
You
And then
want
it
to see
might,
all of it.
yep, I want to be able to see all of it. And then as I spread out to East Texas, Mississippi, Florida, then I'll probably be 80 to 60, and depending on how
Yeah, if
dynamic
you go out to
they
the
are,
West Coast and you're
yeah,
throwing
right,
a flyer on a kid that
yeah,
you like the attributes, you kind of look like what he looks like,
yeah.
but you're 20% is what
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
seeing.
He all you see is that his speed is B to A. So you're like, fuck it. I
Right?
mean,
Yeah.
the lowest he'll be is 85 speed, guys. Fucking, I might see a Toddy with a Denver commit that's a little weak that I can just toss a fucking bone, be like, hey bud,
There you go.
come
Like,
play
hey,
third string for me.
come play third string at LSU. Don't go to Colorado State.
Yeah, you don't want that here. Yep. And then, but the cool thing I found about the closings, like this is the all of the build up, right? You have done all the research. You have told him all these things. You've made all these promises. So now he comes to campus, like okay, now come visit. And there's actually 14 things that they can do during their visit. There's 14
Wow.
activities. So
So
like
it's
it's
just
not
not just go to a game.
yeah, it's
That's
like
what
you're
everybody
gonna
thinks,
go
right? That's why it used to be back in AA14. It was just you came to a
right.
game.
And
Depending
one
on
thing
how
I
you
want you to
did,
notice.
it kind of persuade them a little bit.
Yes,
If
yes.
you got your ass whooped, they're like, oh yeah, don't want to come here.
Yep.
But if you blew somebody out, it was like,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, I want to commit now.
And they emphasize two things: scheduling and activity. So first you got the scheduling. You know, if I tell them, hey, come watch me beat the shit out of Colorado State, then they'll be like, yeah, you won, but it would be way way worse if you lost.
Yeah.
But if I tell them, hey, end of the year, LSU Florida, fucking
SEC
winner goes to the
championship game.
SEC championship game,
Yeah.
then they might be like, okay, like if you lose, you're like, okay, they lost, but they lost to a good team, so the loss will be as bad. But if you
Right.
win, then I mean, you've seen videos
Oh
of
yeah.
you know
Absolutely.
of the swamp when they beat LSU, and the LSU when they beat Florida, it's chaos. You know, like
Oh
so
yeah.
like they get that adrenaline pumping. But that's only half of it. The other half is that while they're there, you have to use the fact that you know their three most important things
And
and sell
use
them again.
that to plan activities.
Yep, yep. Oh, they like the prestige and the national championship. Okay, let's go show you the national
The
trophy room.
tour.
Yeah, let's go.
Go to
let's
tour
go-
around campus and,
Yeah,
and
let's
show
go
you the
throw you
trophies.
into let's go throw you into a uniform, get some pictures. You know, or if it's somebody that doesn't care about that and just cares about getting into the next stage, the NFL, let's show you the playbook, show you the proof, the Jamar Chases of the world. Let's show you that.
Yeah, and if it's academics, you show them obviously, curriculums and success kids can have coming out of LSU or whatever it is that's important. So I will stop here. So we had Cody had a question asking, how the fuck does Randy know all this? Where is he? Did I lose it? He was like, hold on. Where is he? Oh, here he is. There it is, right here. How does Randy know all this?
So I've read there's an 85-page deep dive on EA.com. I've read it twice, and I've probably watched at least 10 to 20 hours of YouTube videos on this. So that includes the actual deep dives from EA, and it includes all the people that went to EA to play the game early. It includes all the ones that just watched it. It includes just if there was a speck of information to be had, I have combed
You read
over it. Yeah, I'll show it here. I have a little slideshow of all the things that I've built and found, just to have it noted and recorded. So yeah, this is like the game of my childhood, and I feel like that's the way a lot of kids feel. It's like, hey,
Oh yeah.
not just kids but adults. Like, hey, I'm 30 years old. I played this game when I was 18. Like this is what got me through high school, middle school. Like this was my thing. So yeah, I feel like you're just seeing like the epitome of this was the game.
Hey, Cody coming back.
I probably enjoyed this more than you enjoyed school too, though, Cody.
Yeah, that's it. That's probably highly likely.
Yeah.
All right, so you've done the pitch, right? Whether it's you invite the kid to the school.
Yep.
You take him to a game, depending on the other items, trophy room, this, that, and the other.
Yep.
What follows?
So what follows is just the commit and emphasis on the hard commit. You have to, even after the visit and everything, you have to keep going. If they just verbally committed and you just stop, well, someone might have the visit and flip you then. And then, but once you get that hard commit, there is no more switching. There is no more flipping.
That's it. So once he hard commits, that's it. That means pens on paper.
Yeah,
that means he's officially signed his letter of intent.
However, and this is a good segue, it might be good for other schools to keep a little bit of time in, because they can transfer, and they have built the way that they have built the transfer portal is that one of the things that they will remember is who came in second and third in their recruiting. So that'll be the first two teams that they'll probably look at if they transfer out of the first school, which I thought was a lot of detail, right? Like that's
so if you don't sign him, it doesn't mean you forget about him.
Yeah.
It means write his name down on a little sheet of paper, because next should come around. Randy told his dude that he was going to play. He didn't play a whole lot. He's looking at the portal, and I was his second choice. I may be able to
Yep.
slide in there and bring him over to Florida. That's what you're saying, basically, right?
Yes, and that gives so much opportunity of actual story development, right? Because you might for somebody in year 1 and 2, it's okay, but then year 3, that X school now has a 99 overall freshman cornerback. Well, you're not getting first team reps anymore.
Yep.
So okay, that's you know was to play. I want to leave, and that was something that they also pitched was that the uh, the players entering in your team is dynamic, even when they're on the field or in the team. So like if their goal is to win a national championship and your team sucks all of a sudden, well, guess
They're in
what?
the portal.
Yeah, you went from A+ on that now to an F. So I'm dipping. So like that is a dynamic portion of this.
So here's a question for you: at what point during the year does the portal open? Is it after the signing day?
I
Is when the
think
portal opens, like
it's
in that springtime?
it's the winter time. It's just like in real life, right? It's like the winter. I forget if it's I think it's coincides with the bowl week,
Okay, so
right?
basically mid-December.
Yeah, mid to late December is when you see them start
Yeah.
hopping in. And what they emphasize that like it's gonna feel unpredictable. Like you might just one day you're looking at your freshman quarterback that's gonna have to start next year. Oh fuck!
He just left.
Yeah, he just left, and but a senior just came in from another school. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna feel as
Chaotic.
unpredictable as real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought
Okay.
that's be really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Madden
Madden
6,
Six.
that is true.
They
That is
because
true.
and they did emphasize that like the transfer portal players are gonna be like sterile. Like they're gonna be real good, but it's gonna feel like you're gonna have to do everything you just did that I talked about in like 2 or 3 weeks. You don't have time to
Yeah.
dilly dally anymore, right?
Now,
Typically, go
Cooley brings up a good point, right? That you can also pair
ahead.
visits. So if you're recruiting a quarterback and a receiver,
Yep.
you can bring them in together at the
Yep.
same time to influence. Hey, he's going to be your future quarterback. He's going to be your future
Yep.
receiver. Y'all come play together at LSU.
Yep. And you saw that a little bit in NCAA 14 that you got like plus 50 points if you got a quarterback wide receiver duo and yada yada. And it's also that if you bring in two quarterbacks at the same time, then it's
Yeah,
insulting,
boy.
right? It's negative points.
Yeah, gotta be smart. Gotta
Yeah,
be smart for sure.
and that's right. That's where like maybe your backup QB or not your backup, but your backup plan at QB is the guy you invite to come watch LSU beat up on ULM.
Right.
That's when you let them come see that. Yeah.
That makes
But
sense. That makes sense.
yep, and that's kind of the gist of the stages. But I kind of still want to talk about the regional stuff because I thought that was kind of interesting. If you
Yeah, so
don't mind, if you
let's give us an actual breakdown. So when you say regional, what do you mean by specifically?
so in previous college football games, you had every region was just a state. So Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, and that was just whatever that state was the people you recruited from that state. Well, what they as an EA realized was that you might get 400 kids from Florida that are 4 stars, and 100 kids from New Jersey, New York that are 4 to 5 star. So they realized that it was a little incorrect to just do it that you had just Florida, just New Jersey, just New York. So what they did, they separated the regions by the amount of players that was produced in a historical time span that they used. I'm not sure about what they used, but that's how they kind of figured
It's
it
probably
out.
like 247 Sports
Yeah, right.
kind of data that
Yeah.
has where athletes have come from and
Yep.
NFL transitions and
Yep.
this and the other kind of back into it,
Yep.
I'm sure.
And so like the big ones that they kind of fit was that New York, New Jersey, that's going to be one area, and then Florida is going to be cut into three, right? Because you have Southern Florida, Central Florida, and Northern Florida that all produce top tier athletes, which would have me guess that Texas would probably be 3 to 5, depending on because they also said that cities would also be separated, right? So like Miami, Atlanta, New Orleans, Houston, those all get their own region.
Right.
So that's going to be a whole other topic, is like how many cities alone will get their own regions. But the thing that I thought was really cool, and the rest we can talk about, is that like each region's in real life, like if you want a top tier quarterback, you go to Southern California. That's
Right.
typically the
That's where they're
knowledge. And
produced. Right.
if you want a bull of a halfback, you go to either South Florida, East Louisiana, where like the New Orleans area. Those are all kind of like things that are known. Well, they followed that, they've copied that and put it into the game. So and that alone I thought was pretty cool. So like if we know that the best offensive linemen come from Nebraska, so
Right.
you're gonna get the best offensive linemen will come from Nebraska.
Right.
The middle states, the middle central states where you see the corn-fed boys, they're gonna be corn-fed in the game. So you're not gonna just get random,
Yeah, you're
corn-
you're not going to see a 5-star O lineman come out of Central Florida.
yeah,
Right. You're
yeah,
not going to see that, but
yeah.
you may see a 4-3 guy come out of Central Florida.
yeah.
So again, that's
And
what Central Florida is known for.
And that goes to my next point. Not only are they specific to position, but they're specific to archetypes. So
Oh, all right,
yes,
so break that down. The archetype stuff. Break that down just a little bit, enough.
I
high
mean,
level.
So eye level is that you're gonna have archetypes similar to Madden, but a little more broken up. So like you'll have your speed will be like one archetype. So it's not. It's broken down.
So it correlating to Madden is like your deep threat, your physical, your
Yes.
slot.
So
And I forget what that other one was. And
yeah,
for
so
receiver.
now they have like similar. You have those 4, but then there's also 3 more attributes which are like physicals. So
Okay.
the example that they gave, they used Quinshon Judkins, the running
Okay.
back for Ohio State
Yep,
from Ole
yep.
Miss. So he has 6 things that he could upgrade, and the 6 things are. Give me 1 second. The 6 things are elusiveness, hands, IQ, route running, power, quickness.
Okay.
So they've broken it down much more so that you can very specifically pick what you want to upgrade.
Yep.
But where the archetypes come into play is if you look at Quinshon Judkins, his route running. So each one of these attributes or archetypes has 10 little slots that you can upgrade to. For Quinshon Judkins, he can only get to 7 out of 10 route running. No matter like that, he peaks
No matter
out
what.
there. Yeah,
That's
no
it.
matter what.
It maxes
That's
out
it.
there.
The other 3 are blacked out. Like you just can't get to them. So that's where you're going to see these archetypes come into play. So obviously Quinshon Judkins is more of a elusive power back, and you can tell because his elusiveness can go all the way up, and his quickness and power can go up to 9. So that's where you're going to see these archetypes play out.
And for other guys, maybe who isn't so elusive, it won't have a 9 bar, maybe have a 7 or 6 or 5.
Yes.
Kind of bar.
Right.
Where that's
So
a
like
max you can go.
Yeah, like a Derrick Henry, right? Derrick Henry, he's going to have all the power. He can go up
Right.
to 10 power, but his route running, quickness, and elusiveness might be 5.
Right.
But he's going to do that power thing real good.
Right. That's gonna be maxed out.
Yeah. Yep. And the other thing, so like the example they used is South Florida. They're known for your small, fast wide receivers, like
Mhm.
scrappy, very shifty.
Yeah, your
on
Percy
the-
Harvin.
yeah,
Percy Harvin
yes.
types.
Yes, exactly. But East Texas is known for your Mike Evans. So you will see that like your big physical wide receivers will come out of East Texas, and your shifty, fast Percy Harvin wide receivers, they're going to come from South Florida.
Right.
So I thought that was really impressive, is that they actually
That's
went
very
into
detailed.
detail,
That's
right?
very, very, very detailed.
And that might
Where the recruiting is even real life specific to where players. I mean, not just the corn-fed guys, but even receivers.
Yeah.
Having two-tone set of receivers, and I'm assuming you can go down the road with running backs are the same way.
Yeah.
Right. And
Everything,
quarterbacks
right?
are the same way because you got more in the South. You'll have more mobile quarterbacks that aren't necessarily the best pocket passing types. Where in California, you'll probably have more your pocket passing, with dual threat capabilities, because there are a ton that come out of that, but they're more your true drop back type of. So another question that came in here, Randy, that I do want to show, because it was a very good one. There was a little bit of a conversation actually went through the comments about it. So Uno asked, can you decide to put skill points into your recruiting or your gameplay with your coach? How does that work? And then Madden Sticks came back and said, correct, Uno, you want to decide what you want to improve with your coach based on your coaching tree and the base you start with. So I know that's a completely loaded, right? Because I know the coaching tree is completely redone. And you know, we saw a little bit in Madden of it kind of breaking down. You know, I think the college took it to a whole different level where it has in-game actual impact, not just a boost. That's what we saw in Madden, right? We saw a couple of attribute kind of boost depending on what you developed. But I did want to ask that question too, because I did think it was a critical question.
So yes, you can improve your scouting, improve your on-field play through the coaching tree. So the coaching ability tree is what they call a spider tree. So that just means that kind of picture of a spider web. You know, you have like 5 points, and you can upgrade to each point to grow it out. But you'll start off. There's 3. There you have your recruiter, your scheme.
And those are your 3 basic profiles to start.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's important to note that those 3 can hybridize to 11 different ones, right? So you might get a really good recruiter, who's also a really good schemer, and he'll have a whole different title that could be called like motivator or something like that, right? Or your recruiter and your guy that's a good, like a head CEO coach. He gets the motivator because he can not only can he recruit well, but he can inspire these guys to use 100% of their talents.
Right, like, but he may not be the best X's and O guy.
Yes,
right?
Kind of like your John Harbaugh, right?
Right.
So yeah, you will see a lot of different things in the coaching abilities. And and yes, shooter, you can cut players in like December, but what you'll see is that like a big school, I'm gonna go into recruiting all the way, but smaller school might not be smart to try to get into recruiting because you're always going to be at a disadvantage. So would it be better to go to the motivator, where you can get every drip out of that 3-star to make him into a 4-star while he's on your team? That's going to be where you'll see a lot of branching beliefs.
So what I've heard you say a lot, in a nutshell, be a lot of choices.
Oh yeah.
No 2 coaches will be the same, or it'll be hard for 2 of them to be the same, right? No 2 rosters, for that matter, are going to look the same, because, you know, let's say, you know, you jump on offline and do 2 separate LSU dynasties. Right? Yes, the players will be different, I'm sure. But let's say tomato, they're all the same. There are probably going to be different outcomes for each one of them.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Guaranteed.
And then you also go all the way in, like even further. You can go into like the where you are will kind of determine how you play the game, right? LSU, or that's not a good one because LSU's kind of in the middle. So let's say Miami and Texas A&M are going to play totally different, because Texas A&M is in the heart of East Texas,
right,
where they're going to recruit the big physical wide receivers, the 6'6" Mike Evans, whereas Miami's going to recruit the 5'10" Percy Harvins, and that type. So it's going to totally change how you play the game. So
yeah, because you can't just be, okay, we're going to be a big physical team and throw some jump balls and live off of that, because again, you're in Miami, it doesn't work like that. You're gonna be, that's gonna be interesting. So so Marnie didn't ask the question, but I did want to highlight this comment to ask a question. So Marnie said, this is also why he didn't want to play early on, because recruiting seems like it's time consuming. Now, there is a feature where you can just let the CPU kind of handle it. Is that something that you would recommend to maybe a novice? Now, again,
a novice,
hard, but to someone that, you know, maybe like a Marnie or somebody else that maybe don't have the time. Maybe time is of a bro. You're gonna have to put some work into this bad boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You gotta put some work into it.
Well,
Okay.
and that's what everybody.
This isn't your get on, play, turn it back off, and
Yeah.
hang out with the boys. You know what I mean? There's work.
And you're seeing a little bit of like that. I guess you can call it realization from the guys that pick the smaller schools is like, oh fuck,
You
like
got work, bro.
yeah. The rebuilds are fun, but what
And
happens when
grind.
you're not rebuilding against 133 computers, building against 100 computers, 32 users who have the same goal of fuck you.
Right.
I'm not gonna let you get this person.
Yeah, it's
So
shocked in the water, baby.
Yep. And I am curious to see like how many leagues will people physically be able to play, right? Like
That's a comment that I made too. Was like, bro, being in more than I'd say at least for me. I mean, everybody's a little different in
Yeah.
their own capacity. But for me, I'm a whore for these fucking leagues. It's been
yeah.
all right. It's been said and confirmed. 3 is probably the
Yeah.
max that I
Yeah.
can do. That's it, because the time and effort, and especially if I want to be good.
Yeah.
But if I want to be good and actually want to get some result out of it, you got to put the time into the recruiting.
Yo, it's gonna be a lot.
Cody with another love his comments. Legacy is Worley League for this mother effers about to be stealing players for no reason.
Yeah.
Hey, Cody's absolutely right. You best believe Randy will make his best effort to take away a stud from going to Florida
Oh yeah.
just because.
yeah.
Or
it's-
actually, I'll take it another step further. I feel like there's a season to just gain up on Prime to make sure Prime in Colorado don't get
Dude, I
nobody.
feel like you don't even have to. You don't even have to try.
It's gonna be hard for
like,
Prime. It should be
yeah,
hard
like
for Prime. It should be
Yeah.
hard.
What I'm but yeah, like because now you go into like game theory of like, okay, like sure, I can get the 4-star running back from Texas. Like, yeah, I can. But Jorge can't.
That's right.
And I could probably get the 4-star from Florida instead.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
he can't get that 4-star.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's another
Yep.
comment by Cody. I don't need this QB,
Yep.
but I don't want these schools getting them either.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, right? Like you're I'm not gonna let
Hoarding
fucking-
players at his finest
Yeah.
right here.
I'm gonna hoard players for sure, right? Like, oh, fucking XYZ Army, you're gonna try to come into to Louisiana and recruit the 3rd best fucking quarterback in the state? Eat
Okay.
my shit. I'm not gonna let you.
That's
Out
gonna
of
be
principle, I won't let you.
Yeah. Uno chiming in. He's taking all the O line from Gordo. You know,
Yeah.
Toucan chiming in. He's just gonna rock his 1-stars. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's gonna be interesting to see how it works. It's gonna be so all right. Potential strategy going into it. Right. What advice would you give people? Again, people maybe that didn't play 14 weren't alive back in 14. That's probably what it is too, right? That's
Fucking sucking on their thumbs still
Yeah,
in diapers.
they were still sucking that titty.
Yeah.
So what would you recommend to these folks?
So I my first recommendation would be that you have to kind of look at your pipelines. You know, the biggest thing is going to be that unlike 2014, pipelines don't change, meaning that whatever you have at launch is the pipeline. So if you're, Jorge Martinez from Florida, your pipeline's Florida.
Right.
It may, a little bit of Georgia and everything, but it's not going to change. Or if you're General Toucan from Rutgers, which I think's in fucking New Jersey or pretty much New Jersey, that's going to be your pipeline. You will not have a pipeline in Louisiana or Florida. And in the old game, you could do that.
You could
But now
develop new pipelines if you had enough
Yes.
players come from that area,
Yes.
then that school or that state would get added on as a
Yes.
pipeline.
So now you can't. So now it might be more beneficial that say you have an OC and DC you're trying to hire. Well, now maybe that lower level OC or DC from Florida is okay, is a better option because now that's the only other way you can create a pipeline.
Expand pipelines by hiring coaches
Yep.
that have pipelines where your head coach doesn't.
Yep. So that's going to be a whole new aspect of the game that you're going to have to consider. And my other thing is that for the smaller schools, don't immediately think about diving straight into recruiting, right? That's going to be how you die. Right? Cuz you're never going to compete with the bigger schools in your locations, you know. Hawaii and Colorado State won't out recruit USC and UCLA in Los Angeles.
Right.
So definitely, depending on the ratings and prestige of your school, definitely consider choosing recruiting versus motivating and vice versa. You're gonna have to really, look at what you can provide to your team. Toddy's just butthurt because I'm never gonna admit that his conferences are right.
Yeah, Cody with a question there. He wants some advice from Wisconsin. What should he do? What should
Learn
he
to
prioritize
run
on?
the ball. The two
'cause
things
I
you
mean-
get. I'm not even like.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
not
It's
shitting
running backs, and O-line.
Wisconsin produces two things. They produce 330-pound left tackles, and they produce 240-pound running backs. Run the ball. Like
There
that
you go.
is, and so one thing another thing is that as Wisconsin, you will have the Wisconsin area is O-line heavy. So like you will have that advantage against other people.
Right.
And you will have and you will be able to compete with Michigan for defensive line. Like that's all in that area. So that's
But
going
the
to be
school
like
prestige may play a factor into that, right? Because obviously
yeah.
Michigan coming off a national championship is
Yeah.
probably going to be
Oh, 100%.
a little bit higher on the prestige level. Wisconsin's had,
Yeah.
mediocre years
Yeah.
here
But
recently. But again, it's still
not Rutgers.
well-known schools. Yeah, it's not.
It's not Rutgers.
It is not.
Yeah.
It is not.
Yeah.
All right, Reese, we're coming up on an hour here. We actually went a little longer, but it was a great conversation. It was all
It was.
very, very good. We will do a part 2 to the recruiting because I'm sure we only touched on a maybe a page of the 8 pages that Randy had prepared for us today.
We did a decent number. We probably spitballed our way through 2/3.
Okay, all right. So we got a third left, and then they'll be digesting what gets released.
Yeah, we have to
during the
discuss.
week.
Yeah, we have to decide how we're gonna talk about Monday. Like, we have 4 days ahead of straight content. Do we want to
Nothing
do
but
we're gonna have to schedule some shit? Like
No,
actual.
so I do think we schedule it. I definitely think we do the rest of the recruiting and the gameplay reaction.
Yep.
Right on Monday.
Yeah. So
That's tomorrow. That's tomorrow night.
we literally couldn't have gotten more lucky because my wife she works nights tonight, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night.
There you go.
So it's the perfect time to
It
if
is.
you want me to because I what I did tonight, the fucking reading all the stuff, I'm gonna do the same thing tomorrow. I'm gonna do
There
the
you
same
go.
thing Tuesday, same thing Wednesday, same thing Thursday. So
All right, so listen. We'll be back tomorrow.
yep.
We'll do a gameplay reaction. We'll finish the recruiting, which we have about a third of it left. Again, so tomorrow night, stay tuned. Again, we'll have another show, probably about another hour. So log in your DVRs to Toddy, that was for you.
Yeah.
To record the podcast. But all right, leave us with one gem.
Of the recruiting specifically?
Yes. One or coaching tree, whatever it is. You pick.
Okay, give me a second. Let me think about it.
Think about it. So as you're thinking about it, Cody, I know you know what the DVR is. That was made for the old man because he's not going to stay up late to watch the podcast. Run the ball, steal O-line, D-line. Got it. Yeah, that's basically it, Cody. That is that is Wisconsin's formula to success, right there. I do appreciate everybody that did hop on the pod. Again, we did this cross different Discord leagues, so definitely appreciate everybody that joined and watched. We'll do another one tomorrow. Randy, I'm free after 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So you let
I-
me know a time best for you. We'll
Yep.
get
it'll look
scheduled
the
ahead
same
of
for
time
me.
so that way the people know, since it is a people's
Yep.
podcast, that way they're aware when, even though we did have this planned earlier, we didn't necessarily make it public.
Yeah.
All right, what's the
So-
gym? I feel like you
So
got it ready.
I got a decent gym. Nothing crazy, but so you will have, coordinators. We did talk about how you will have coordinators that you can hire and fire. But one thing that they did not state outright is that you cannot choose their upgrades.
Whoa.
Yeah, so like if you're cute,
so they get
yeah.
auto upgraded.
Yeah, so they
And
choose
that's
their
it.
own upgrades. Yeah, so like
Okay.
if you hire the guy that's an O line coach, he's gonna upgrade into O line. He's not good. Like you don't get to go get the QB coach. Like the only way you can get a coordinator with QB aspects
Is to go get one that already has it.
Exactly. There. So that'll be another whole thing into hiring coaches and deciding what you as a head coach wants to do. Because if you choose the recruiting one, you can't. The only thing you can do is recruit
Well. That's it. You
QBs.
can't expect
That's
them to have attributes when we go to LSU, because
Yeah.
there is a couple where, right, the OC has the ability to calm down the quarterback if it's a young bug going to LSU in a household territory. The tree, the passing tree will still be available to him, or added features like Hot Route Master, this, that, and the other for certain OCs. If you pick the recruiting, you're not gonna
Yep.
you're not
So
gonna
that's
have those.
That's a
the
whole
balance.
other aspect. Yep.
Yeah, see. Again, back to my original comment. I'll end with this: choice. You're gonna have a lot of choices and decisions that you can make that's going to shape up your team, which I think at the end of the day, that's what we all wanted. Let us customize it. Let us fully do it the way we want to do it. And you're going to have that ability from team selection that some people already kind of put 2 feet to the ground with. But hey, maybe you pick the right coaches. Maybe you do this, that, and the other. You can find a way. But again, Randy, I appreciate you hopping on with us as always. Thank you to everyone that tuned in to the podcast. It was just short of an hour. Tomorrow night we'll be back again. You want to pick a time today? Right now?
Dude, I liked this time perfectly. This time was
all right, so let's go
7:30.
8:45.
8:45.
8:45 Eastern Standard Time. 7:45 Central for those folks, and we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do a live reaction to the gameplay video that'll get posted tomorrow. Don't forget to tune into that, and we'll go over the recruiting aspect we didn't finish today. Until next time, appreciate you guys. Randy and George out.